Okay, we are live. Hey, everybody. This is Annie Brock. I am the president and CEO of the Leader Transition Institute, and I am so excited to be with you today with Matt Sivacek, our vice president for operations. What's even more important is that Matt leads our Outward Mindset online program. He is certified to do so by the Arbinger Institute. We have a great partnership with them. Their program is available through us for alumni of our program, Changing Focus, Moving from We to Me. So, welcome, Matt. I'm so excited to have you here with me. And please just jump in. I'm going to let you lead our time together, and we'll go forward from here.
Thanks, Annie. It is. It's really good to be here. The Many of you have heard different stories, and I'm going to hit a bunch of them again today and expand. Outward mindset for me, uh, honestly, way back in the '90s, I was a what one would say a typical attack helicopter pilot. Pretty aggressive, pretty arrogant, pretty abrasive, and I was not understanding how, no matter how smart I could be, or how I had a great solution to a complex problem, that if people couldn't be around me or interact with me because I was too abrasive, I wasn't really having the impact that was needed for the Army and for the organization. And that's one of the biggest things I think that comes through a transition to being outward, which is just seeing people that matter like I matter. They don't matter more, they don't matter less. They're fellow human beings, which sounds very simple, but we are programmed and indoctrinated into a thinking that we generally have to compare ourselves to other people. Both either are we better than them or are we worse than them? And so when I am doing that, my impact is going to be far less valuable to people. And that's where Arbinger, the creators of this material, uh, they have a great saying. How many of you know somebody at work or in your life, and somebody would say, "Oh yeah, John's really good at his job, but he's hard to work with."
Mhm.
And and
We
and
all have somebody like that in our lives.
absolutely, and quite frankly, is he good at his job if he's hard to work with? Because our jobs are not just about some task, but they're about impact and value to the customer, to the organization, to the people around us, to the world. So Arbinger is very much an impact for focused organization, and there's quite a few out there that actually hire for attitude over skills, right? And most of the time we think in skills,
Mhm.
but most of us have seen that it's pretty easy to learn a new skill. It can be very difficult the older we are to change our mindset and the way we're viewing people. And so that's really the core of outward mindset. And some things I'd like to talk about specifically are what's called, their primary point is a term called self-deception. And all self-deception is, in Matt's terms, is I think I know what's going on, and I'm telling myself that's what's happening, and it's not. I'm deceiving myself. Simple self-deception are if I misperceive what's going on in traffic, or I misperceive what somebody's action is. My example, Annie's heard thousands of times, is always in driving, because that's usually when I'm my least outward person. And so when somebody cuts me off in traffic, I think they did it on purpose.
Of course they
And then
did.
right, right, of course. And now I need to educate them. I need to educate them on driving kindly. And so I get unkind. And it's just amazing because I don't know why they cut me off. And so that leads to a self-deception, because then my reactions are all built on that. And so knowing that I don't know opens up a lot of different solutions. See, when I'm sure and I'm self-deceived, and then I usually only have a couple of options, a couple of solutions. But if I'm just open to the fact that I don't know, and that they're a person that mattered like I matter, and they're probably going someplace that they need to go just like I do, then everything gets easier. The other term I want to talk about is self-betrayal. And
So
go ahead, Annie.
okay. So wait a minute. So I just want to review. So self-deception is when I think I know what's going on, even though I might not really.
Yes. And
Okay.
we like certainty in our lives. As humans, we don't like ambiguity. We don't like not what's going on. So we're often going to provide context and an answer for any situation.
Because our
That
brain needs that.
yeah, what?
Our
That
brain needs that. Our
Yes, our
mind needs
brain,
that.
our soul, if you will, right? Our emotional subconscious all need some forms of certainty. That's why change is scary. That's why unknown situations are scary. And so we're going to fill in all those details. So self-deception is more likely than not. And so just knowing that it's likely, and that it's what I think is going on is probably not what's going on in many cases, that opens up a lot. And then with self-betrayal, all that is how many of you have ever thought of run across some information or thought of a person, and your immediate instinct is, they should probably know about that. I think we've all done that. I'm sure you have too, Annie. You've probably run across some information at times and thought somebody that that'd be great if they knew that. And then the voices in our heads start talking, right? And they will either steer us towards honoring that, or they'll steer us away. And if they start to steer us away, it usually becomes pretty dark. Usually becomes a lot of reasons why sharing that with them or doing that for that person would actually be counterproductive. And that's usually self-betrayal, because our first instinct is generally right. Our first feeling, and honoring that feeling is really important. And Arbinger goes into a lot more detail on it. And we do
So
that in
it
Our
so we
Mindset
can
Online. Go ahead.
so can we just avoid self-betrayal by taking an action that we promised to take right away? Is that part of like an immediate? So, for
And
example, I had a conversation this morning with a new connection on LinkedIn, and I promised to connect her with a couple of people. And so I went right away to LinkedIn. I can't send her she has to accept my connection request. So I'm going to tickle her and accept my connection request. I can't do this, I discovered, until she accepts my connection request. But I did that so that I wouldn't forget to do that. So does that count for that kind of thing? That, if you promise to do something, that you do it right away?
so that's a great question. So that's again very much in the whole point of the course of Outward Mindset Online, is that we tend to evaluate how we are based on our behaviors. And the truth of the matter is, the thinking behind the behavior is what matters most. So in your example, no, you don't have to do it right away. Let's say you're driving down the road and you have a place you have to be, and you have
Right.
this thought that this person needs a connection request. Well, pulling over and immediately doing it is not necessary,
Right.
right?
But I'm just talking about, but I can avoid the self-betrayal by when I have time to take immediate action.
Um,
That's all I meant.
so
Obviously, if I'm driving down the road, it's not the right
right,
time, but when I'm
right.
sitting here just getting ready to get back to work so I could fix it, that's something that I can do to help myself if I just do it right away.
Okay, yeah, I would agree with that. If your mind, if you're in an outward place where you're helping this person because they need it, not because of anything about yourself, then yeah,
Yeah,
doing it
no.
sooner than
Yeah.
later is always better. I would agree, because and that's one of those questions I push at Arbinger and my friends at Arbinger at times. What if I forget to do it? Does that mean
Right.
I'm not honoring my thought? And that always leads to an interesting discussion. But the truth of the matter is, and this is where things get really tough, is if I forget, then does it matter to me? Do they matter like I matter if I forget to do something for them?
Right.
And so, on one hand, knocking it out is helpful because it gets done, but if I'm constantly forgetting to do those things that I was inclined to do, then I'm probably in what's called in the box. I'm probably not in a place where I'm thinking of that person mattering like I matter. Um, the flip side of it is if I do it begrudgingly, if I think this person needs it, and then I'm mad about doing it, or
Right.
I'm frustrated, I still do it because I want to be nice, versus they just need the information. That is still not being outward, and that's why this is I would say it's this all seems very simple, but it actually is pretty complicated because we are complicated creatures. Our subconscious is so powerful that it is. You've heard me say it before. Our subconscious is going to get what it wants, unless we can get it.
Always.
Always. The only way to get our subconscious to not get what it wants is to get our subconscious to change what it wants, and then it still gets what it wants. It's just something different now that we've decided that that's a better direction for us, a healthier, safer direction. And that's why the course is 10 weeks, right? It's 10 nights, or 10 weekly nights. Monday nights we do it from 8 to 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, and it allows us to grow over time. Most of you have probably been to a course where it's a day and done, and then 5 days
Right.
later we're back to who we were again. This allows us to gradually change over time. It's still not long enough. It takes a long time to change, but this really does open us up. And it's an incredible experience when people at the midpoint, you start to see some of those deeper insights starting to come out as they played with the material.
Awesome. So tell me a little bit about the course. Tell everybody a little bit about how the course runs.
So, so again, it's 10 weeks. We meet Mondays, and their Arbingers is gifted us this information, this course for our alumni and their spouses. And I do want to just highlight that again for a second. This type of a change in our thinking can initially cause conflict in our relationships because we are approaching things very differently. And as we're almost that new baby in this thinking, our expectations can both get in the way of us and our relationships. So Arbinger has also given us an additional seat for another family member, our spouse, a significant other that we're in deep relationship with. So that's
I
extremely
appreciate
important.
that so much.
Yeah. Actually, Annie, take a second, because you went through our pilot cohort. How did that work for you in your relationship?
Oh, yeah. Actually, because I did it with my husband, and when we did our pilot cohort, and he and I have been married for 33 years. Let me get that right. Yep, 33 years. 33 years we've been married, and actually through the cohort, through doing outward mindset, we had some conversations that we probably should have had before we were married, and so it opened it's great for everybody, and I think we're never too old to learn, and our relationships are never too long to improve.
Uh, Absolutely. My wife and I went through the public workshop with Harbinger, and that's a 2-day intensive workshop, and it's definitely worthwhile. But I will say that there's a lot I love about that our version, simply because of the amount of time you're re-engaging on it. It doesn't give you time to forget. But the way
So,
it goes.
so, so we're going to meet every Monday night, starting next Monday,
Mhm.
at 8 a.m. or 8 p.m. Central, Eastern time. So we meet for 90 minutes, right?
Yes, and prior to that, there's some work that's been provided by Arbinger. There's some videos to watch. They give you a guide for what you do while you're in the videos. Give me one sec. Sorry about that. So you're given videos, a PDF guide for the module in the 10 different modules. You're also given a couple assessments that you can take to look at yourself and in their terms of being outward. and also some different styles of being inward that they teach us. In the first week is getting to know each other, and then we start getting into the base concept. We've already talked about a couple between self-deception and self-betrayal. One of the most popular segments that we work on is called collusion, which has to do with what I call the dueling banjos in relationships. When I don't want somebody to do these things to me, I actually typically trigger them in somebody. So I will do a behavior that causes this person to react in a certain way. And when they react in that way, I'll double down on it and then react in my way. And so when I react, I typically am going to evoke those same behaviors that I don't like. And it's amazing that we do this as humans.
Well,
And
it's exactly what we think about when it's just how our mind works. It's what we think about, we bring about. If I tell you not to think about a purple elephant, if I tell you not to think about a purple elephant, if I tell you not to think about a purple elephant, if I don't end the conversation telling you to think about a green elephant, you're going to leave the conversation thinking about a purple elephant.
Yeah, that's a great point. And once we're in this struggle, we're thinking about this, how we're hurt, how we're injured, how we, me, and we're not even taking into account, in my case, especially one bit of how I'm hurting the other person. And if I just stop doing it and see that person as a person that matters like I matter, because I've realized this is going on, that opens the door for a whole new range of behaviors and interactions and in a healthy relationship. We do this at work. We do this collusion when I'm driving. If I drive really aggressive, I'm probably going to bring that out in some other people. And just as well, if I drive kindly, for example, if somebody's trying to get in my lane and I let them in, I'm probably going to bring out some stuff in them that's more kind. And so just as being inward in the terms, meaning focused on myself, my results, my needs, my objectives, being outward, which means that your needs, objectives, and challenges matter like mine matter. They don't matter more. Everything gets easier and the possibilities become almost infinite for interaction. And
I love it.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I just love it. I think that the more we learn to be outward, it can really change everything.
It can. One of my favorite comments from the last two groups that went through our program was that they found that they were a little bit more peaceful, or a lot more peaceful. That they realized that they were really in control of themselves, and that their actions were having a substantial impact on the people around them. So why not have it be a positive impact?
Right.
Why not take active ownership of how I'm treating people as opposed to even a neutral impact? I mean, why not pay attention to how people are being impacted by me? I mean, impact's a powerful word.
Right. Yeah. So I put this link up. It is the website where people can go and register for it. And so I'll put it into the chat too. So who needs to who qualifies to register is my question.
Okay. So first off, alumni. Absolutely. Anybody who's been through Changing Focus, moving from we to me, and completed that program, they're first on the list, and their spouses. In the next group, because we're still running a limited number of these a year, if you've signed up for a cohort to go through Changing Focus, then you can also sign up for this now.
And so in other words, people who are registered for October and November for cohorts 25 and 26. Awesome.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And their spouses too, right?
And their spouses. And I cannot stress that enough. I can't tell you how many times somebody has said, I wish my spouse had gone through this with me while they were going through it. And so we do.
And what does it cost?
The cost? The cost is something extremely valuable. It's your time, which we closely care for. That's the only cost, though. There's no monetary cost. Arbinger.
So what's my time? So my time is 90 minutes on Monday evening, right? And then maybe 45 minutes to an hour to prepare for it during the week, right?
Yeah, if that. And then I would also ask, our people to spend about 5 minutes a day just trying to think in the terms of being outward. So that's an
Gotcha.
additional piece. But yes, your cost of your time is roughly, or it's no more than 3 hours a week if you think about
And
it.
there's no book to read, right? It's just a few short videos and then a couple of PDFs, right?
Yep. No book to read, and the PDFs are really about just some exercises and tools that can help you develop the skill. And Arbinger is asked us to pilot a slightly different version of this. So I got a tip for y'all. It's a little bit less homework now. The homework
Ooh,
is more thinking and less watching videos, because what we found is those videos are incredibly powerful. And so what we'll do is actually watch some of them together as a group so that we can have an immediate discussion afterwards.
I like
and
that idea.
and process what's going on, and then we will assign some of the videos as homework, and then we will discuss those at the beginning of the following session. But Arbinger is completely changing this program. They've asked us, the first group, to pilot this for them.
Awesome. I'm
So
excited.
yes, and for anybody who's
And of course,
interested.
it's on Zoom, so
Yep.
we don't have to go anywhere.
Yep.
And I love that too.
Yeah, I actually, for those of you that hear Zoom and think, oh, I really wish this was in person. There is so much greatness about being in person, but I honestly am part of the converted. It's nice to be at my home on Zoom with a group of people that we are able to have very, very much the same discussions in a much more comfortable venue. So I'm a fan of Zoom or
Well, what
any virtual
to
system.
me, what's so valuable about Zoom, particularly in the evening, is uh, for people who are going out of their homes again to work. Once you get home, you don't want to leave. And so
Correct.
being able to do some of these things on Zoom gives you that opportunity to participate in something with and be engaged without having to leave once you got back to that comfy space.
I agree. I, I agree quite a bit. One of the other things I wanted to share, though, is for those that aren't sure if they want, for those that haven't gone through changing focus, or aren't scheduled for a cohort,
Now,
Arbinger
what do we do?
is glad to have you purchase the program from them, and so you can buy uh, Outward Mindset Online for $130 from Arbinger direct, and then you just have to come with your code, and we'll still let you go through our facilitated session. Arbinger's a
Oh, I
great.
love that.
Yep. So yep. If you want to purchase it, and now I think you're losing out. You're spending $130 that you don't really have to, and you're missing out on changing focus, which is one of the reasons why Arbinger agreed to do this with us, because they heard about our program. They care about veterans. They love what we're doing with that program. And so it was an easy decision for them to allow us to facilitate free for our veterans and their spouses this program. So it's absolutely worthwhile for you to go through changing focus. And quite frankly, I think if you go through the outward mindset stuff with us, you'll end up signing up for it anyway. So I just say go ahead and sign up for it now.
Awesome.
It
And so
and
I put the link to our website up so that with our events page, so people can go there and they'll find the link to changing focus and they'll find the link to outward mindset as well. So Matt, is there anything else that people really need to know that you think if they're on the border, not quite sure about whether outward mindset is for them or not, what is the one last thing you want to share with people?
I hate to do it, but it will change your life. I kid you not. It will, if you engage in this program and put the time and effort into it, it will completely change your life, and it for the better. I haven't met a single person who's participated with and gone and worked on developing an outward mindset that was not happier and more effective, both in their personal and professional lives. So I do not say that lightly. It completely changed my life. The last thing I'll say is this started for me when I read a book called Leadership and Self-Deception by Arbinger, which explained all of this in a story format. And towards the end of the book, there was a period where they were talking about behaving our way out of these thinking traps. And I hit the seventh level of hell because that's what I'd been trying to do, is behave my way out. And we can't behave your way out of a mindset problem. We have to address the underlying mindset, and then the behavior will change. And that was amazing. And that's where I decided that fake it till you make it when it comes to a mindset doesn't ever actually work. Fake it till you make it when it comes to a skill, okay, fine. But to a mindset, you have to develop a mindset, and doing it with a group of people that are along the same journey, fellow travelers, if you will, helps so greatly. So thanks, Annie. This is incredibly important to me.
Well, thank you, Matt, for coming on today. I'm excited to be able to share this with our community, and then hopefully with some other people too, because it is so important. I really feel like people who have an outward mindset, they can make a little ripple in the world that will change everything. And I'm going to put the link back in because Margie said she wasn't seeing the link. So let me find the link. And it really depends on where you are, Margie, whether what shows up in the chat whether things show up in the chat, because we're live on LinkedIn and our comments don't go there. So when I'll go back later to LinkedIn and find this video and put the registration link in there. So hopefully, Margie, now you can see it, the link. So thank you, Margie, for being on. Thank you, Heidi. And I saw Tommy on earlier. So it's always fun to see friends on with us when we're doing this. So thanks so much, Matt. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and everybody else have a wonderful day too.
Everybody have a wonderful day. Thanks for listening.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.